Hey, and welcome to Lunar Reactor, Map 7 of Duke Nukem 3D's second episode. And here's the thing with this opening here. This opening is quite nasty when you're pistol starting, because you've got two drones facing right at you, you've got all these enemies who can shoot you, and that drone's just slipped right by me and blown up. Thank you very much for that. We want to take care of the drones here, but not only do we have to worry about all these enemies, we've also got a bunch of crawlies coming out of the vents here, which, you know, quite frankly is just rude. So I'm quickly gonna run through here and just make sure we get all these guys. I also want to get that Devastator there. That's going to be vital on this level, let me tell you. Some atomic health there. So now that we've cleared the first section of the air ducts here, we can actually open the door here. Oops, excuse me. And we can take care of these big boys. So we're actually heading into a toilet here, which is filled with quite a few enemies, but there's a load of goodies in here, and we want to make sure we grab all of them. So you can see there's a massive med pack. Oh, nice, and that enemy just dropped us a Ripper, which, you know, not going to complain about at all. So there's a secret area here. We can't get through there because the barrier hasn't been raised yet. I'm not going to use the laser weapon there. That's pretty useless in my opinion. We're going to take out the enemies here. Thank you for coming. So when we open the blue door here, there's going to be a drone right on the other side, and we want to get rid of it as quick as we can. Or we let it fly around like that and, you know, waste ammo. I do want to pop my head into this air duct here because there is some Devastator ammo, and since we've already used the Devastator in this level, it's nice to get extra ammo for it. So at the end of this corridor here is a Battle Lord. Now the thing with Battle Lords is they're not that difficult, provided you kind of stay covered and out of view of them. The problem of course is that, you know, once they start shooting their chain gun at you, you know, they turn you to Swiss cheese. Oh my gosh. So he launched a explosive at me there, and that took quite a bit of health off me. There is an atomic health in this air duct here, so we are going to grab this. There's also a bunch of drones behind this door here. So there's a fair few enemies in here. There's also walls you can blow up, which we're going to just do to show off what you can actually achieve with that. You can see this is kind of where the astronauts and the workers here bunk down and have their sleep. One thing Duke Nukem 3D does really well is create spaces like this that feel lived in, like there's actually a purpose to all this. You won't see this kind of thing in Doom, unfortunately, because Doom didn't allow for this level of detail. You can also see the lockers there. So now that we've done that, there's a bunch of enemies who are going to try charging us here. Luckily we're going to blow them up with a pipe bomb. Very underrated weapon. Gonna make sure we grab all the goodies we can. So when we hit this switch, we're not going to head through the air duct. We're actually going to head back here to grab this atomic health. That's a nice little secret. And when we head out here, you're going to see we're actually entering a massive area here. So this is a giant like cave system. And if we look up and around, you can see that it kind of goes on forever, and it's very deep. We're going to jump down here into this cave. Now, ideally you want a jetpack, but obviously, because we're just coming into the level here, we don't have it. But we can see Luke Skywalker there. And that is a very nice nod to Episode 5 of Star Wars. I was going to say Star Trek just to wind you all up, but, you know, I figured that would be a bit too trolly. But as we head down this corridor here, you can actually see it's triggered to blow up like that. It's like you can't get through that no matter what you do. Instead you have to go through this air duct here, and this is done in this way because there's a bunch of enemies who spawn up top, and they're going to sort of shoot at you while you're in the air vents. And the thing is, if they do too much damage, they can actually destroy the air vent and basically make it impossible for you to get over there. You can see there's a little cave. I'm going to run over here because there's armor and atomic health in there. It's important you don't fall down here. If you fall down without a jetpack, you're pretty much guaranteed death. There's no real way you're surviving. Oh god, okay, so I had the wrong weapon out there. We've just got to be careful here. We don't want to accidentally blow ourselves up. That would be really silly. So the interesting thing here is that we can actually come to the other side of the red door that we saw at the start of the level, but we can't actually pass through it until we go down here. You can also see there's an air duct here. We can't go back because we haven't actually used the red key card yet. So basically when you go through the air ducts, if they're locked up like that, what it means is that you've got to use a key card somewhere to open it up, because the air ducts kind of open up in sectors once you've used certain key cards, and I think that one's triggered by the red door, which we're going to open right now. But it's interesting because you don't actually come through the normal way, you actually come out of the door we saw earlier on. So it's a pretty interesting design, that. Because normally you go the other way, you go the normal way. Where is this? I know he's here because I can hear him. There he is. Don't ask me why he spawned in there. So now that we've made our way into this area, I just want to quickly show off that if you go into this air duct here, it's actually a way to get back down here. It's completely useless, don't get me wrong, like a completely useless detail, but it's actually quite fun. It's there, to be honest. So when you go around this corner here, you're going to be faced by 2 battle lords. So what I like to do here, one of the few times I'll use the Hollow Duke for its intended purpose. I just use that so that the battle lords run right up to it, and he ends up taking a fair chunk of damage for me, which is pretty nice. But it's the easiest way to kind of ensure you don't end up becoming Swiss cheese. So as we head over here, we'll head into the air duct here, and I'll just show you that like all of these sectors are now open because we've used all the key cards in the level. It's pretty cool that you can kind of see how that expands, and it's a very vast network of air ducts as well, so you can actually sort of get around the level pretty nicely using those. As we make our way through this room, there's just a bunch of low level enemies here, nothing to really worry about. You can see the Lunar Reactor there, and we'll be sorting that out in a second. So that room is quite nasty. There's quite a few enemies in there, and the reaction when you blow it up as well is pretty chaotic if you're not ready for it. So what I'm going to do is just show you that coming into this room is pretty cool, I have to say. Like, of all the rooms in this episode, this is one of the more memorable ones because it sounds interesting, it looks interesting, and when you turn the lights on, it's like, yeah, you can actually see what's going on. So when we hit that switch there, we're actually lowering the casing around the reactor, so we have to blow it up. It's kind of like that level a few levels back where we had to blow up the reactor there as well. Now here's the trick: you don't want to be stood in this room when this thing goes off, because the explosion kind of encompasses all around the room, and no matter how good you are, unless you're a fast runner, like you're done for. Speaking of explosions, we'll deal with this guy here. And then we get a really interesting end to the level here. So rather than kind of a boss battle of something like that, you actually get a little bit of a chase sequence. So you can see in the mirror there, it actually blows up. We only have a very limited time to get out of this area. And as you can see, if I hadn't run into that exit bit there, we probably would have died, because you can see all this devastation was caused by that explosion. It's a really interesting end to the level. I really like this level. I think that there's a lot of positives in this level, and even though I kind of feel like the space aesthetic is pretty one-tone in Duke Nukem, I feel that a lot of these level designs are really interesting, and it's very fun to kind of explore these space bases and kind of see all the little nooks and crannies that they've managed to cram in there, and how all the levels have different ways of kind of linking up from the start to the end. And this is one of the better ones, I think. I think this is a really fun level. Now, I'm not going to do a full-on playthrough of the N64 level because there were actually some issues with the audio when I recorded it. But I am going to show you this part, which I think is the most interesting bit of this level in the N64 version. So as you can see, the cavern is still here, but it's actually a lot easier to see around, and kind of, it's less mysterious because they don't kind of have the shadow effects going on. You can still jump down here though, which is pretty fun. And instead of it being Luke Skywalker, it's actually Yoda here. So we actually get to shoot Yoda in this version, which is interesting to say the least. But let me know what you think of this level. Do you love Lunar Reactor? Do you hate Lunar Reactor? Do you like that Star Wars reference? And which do you prefer, Luke Skywalker or Yoda? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.